did want to mention before you start the video, when I refer to friendships, I am referring to adult friendships, right? Not childhood friendships. Childhood friendships are different, right? That's something that you will always value, always treasure. And usually what happens in a childhood friendship, you sort of go down different paths, right? So I am referring to grown tail adult women. Okay, let's get started. I just said what you said that you do all the time for her. Okay, listen, she is not your friend. Okay, if you are the one that's always calling and always texting and always reaching out, or maybe you haven't heard from her for a while, and maybe you hurt your knee, or maybe you're having back problems, they don't know because they don't call you to find out. Okay, because hey, she's not your friend. Listen, when I was coming up, my mother used to say to me, that girl's not your friend. She's not your friend. And I used to think, yes, she is my friend, because I was so desperate for friendships, right? I always wanted to have that, friendship with a lot of people. And I wanted to, because I'm a people person. I love people, right? So I always wanted to collect all of these friends, right? But my mother used to say, you know what, that's not your friend. You think she's your friend, but she's not your friend, right? But listen, I am here to tell you, she's not your friend, okay? And fill in the blank on who that person is. There's a difference between a friend and an acquaintance, right? An acquaintance is someone that you don't really contact them that much, maybe every now and again, or maybe you talk to them maybe once a year or something like that. They don't know that maybe you had surgery that's coming up, or you had a procedure that you had that in terms of your health. They don't know anything that's going on with you privately, right? That's sort of an associate, right? Or maybe it's someone that you work with, or someone that you see at the store. Maybe you just say hello and have small talk, or they don't know anything really that's happening in your life, right? That's sort of an acquaintance, right? So you may call them sometime, they may call you every blue moon, but there's no real emotional connection, right? You have to be careful when you are calling someone a friend. Let me share a funny story with you. So a friend of mine, she had one of her parents actually passed away, right? And so they ended up having a sort of a repast, a memorial service for her after the service. Well, I was inquiring about when it was going to be, right? I knew that it was going to be after the service, but I'm like, where, the time, I didn't know any details, right? And this is someone that I had known, a few years or what have you. Well, I said to her at the service, I said, well, where is the memorial, the repast going to be? And her words to me, well, it's only for family and friends. I'm laughing now, but do you know that crushed my little heart? I was so heartbroken, and I'm thinking, I thought we were friends, but we weren't. Anyway, I can laugh about it now. But yes, that is a true story. So sometimes we're thinking, oh, this is my friend, this is my friend. No, she's not your friend. And I know you're thinking, wait a minute, but I've known her a long time, and I call her all the time, and I text her all the time, and I have her in my home all the time, and I always pay for lunch, and I pay for this for her, and I'm always in contact with her. Well, did you notice what I just said? Hear what I just said. I just said what you said that you do all the time for her. Okay, listen, she is not your friend. Okay, if you are the one that's always calling and always texting and always reaching out, or maybe you haven't heard from her for a while, or you're the one that's always inviting someone somewhere, listen, okay, I hate to tell you this. Actually, I don't hate to tell you this, because I want you to learn. I don't want you to make the same mistake that I've done in my life. Listen, if you are the one that's always doing that all the time, they are not your friend, right? They are not your enemy either, right? There are some friendships, right, where you may not talk every day, right? But you still talk, right? So if that's really a friend, and every blue moon you guys talk, or every blue moon you guys, and I mean every blue moon as in maybe 3 times a year, or 4 times a year, or something like that. But if the phone calls isn't incorporated, and even if you don't see each other, that's not your friend. That's an associate, right? That is someone that you associate with every blue moon, every now and then. Listen, if you are having a surgical procedure and they don't know that you're having a surgical procedure, or they're having one and they haven't told you, they're not your friend. I am telling you, they are not your friend. And I know you're thinking, but some people, some women I can talk to, not talk to for a long time, and it's like time stood still. And that's wonderful. I have friendships like that as well, right? We don't talk maybe for quite some time, and but then it's like time stood still, right? And that is wonderful relationships to have. But that is not a true friendship. I would not define that as a true friendship. I would define that sort of as an acquaintance, right? That is someone that you talk to every now and again, right? You don't share, they don't know what's going on in your day-to-day life, right? They don't know what's happening maybe at work until it has already passed, right? They don't know that, maybe you're having problems with your supervisor. Maybe you are the supervisor and you're having problems with your workers, right? They don't know the day-to-day of what's happening in your life because they are an associate, right? They are not a friend. Okay, so listen, I don't want you to get your heart broken or be upset, and maybe you're not going to be invited to their party. Listen, they may even have a party, right, and have a get together, and you're thinking, oh, they didn't invite me to the party because they're not your friend. That's why. Okay, you are an acquaintance, you are not a friend. Okay, and I know you're thinking, well, gosh, they had a picnic and they had this, and I didn't know anything about it because they didn't mean to tell you about it, sweetheart. They didn't. Okay, you weren't invited because you are not a friend, you are an associate. Okay, you are an acquaintance, right? So you need to learn your place in people's lives, and it's okay. That's nothing against the person that decide to not befriend you, or that's nothing against them, but you need to learn your place in people's life, right? You need to learn to stay in your lane, right? When someone is not reaching out to you, or someone isn't calling you, or someone isn't checking on you, listen, they are officially an acquaintance, right? They don't know what's happening with you. They don't know that maybe you hurt your knee, or maybe you're having back problems. They don't know because they don't call you to find out. Okay, because they are an acquaintance, right? So learn your place, and you need to treat them accordingly, right? If they are not your friend, that's okay, right? But you need to learn that early on. Don't continue to feed this relationship and continue to invite them to places and texting and calling, and they're not responding, or even if they do respond, they're responding months later. Listen, unless something has happened to them, or something, they're, not feeling well or something like that, that's different, right? That's a different set of circumstances. But other than that, they are an associate, right? They are an acquaintance. They are not considered to be a friend, okay? So I hope that this encourages you to learn the difference between a friend and an acquaintance, okay? God bless you. And remember, do not ever give up before the miracle happens. God bless. Bye.